All right, in Chapter 2 is our first chapter where we talk about summarizing data. And we're going to learn two simple techniques, one called a frequency distribution, and we'll also learn how to make some visual displays. Now to start off with, I'd like to give you this data set. These are 40 scores on a statistics final exam. Now what I want you to do is pause the video and think, look at those 40 scores. What can you tell me about them? Pause the video and take a minute. If you're like most people, what you find is that you can't get much information because 40 scores is too overwhelming for the human brain. So we need to summarize this somehow. We need to organize it. Research has shown that humans can basically process between 5 to 9 bits of information at a time. So what we need to do is figure out how to summarize this information in order to make it comprehensible for the individual. The first thing we're going to learn is called a frequency distribution. This is kind of the stock and trade for a statistician. You get a big data set, let's make some sense out of it. What we do is we group the data into categories and calculate how many observations are in each category. For example, these 40 scores, I decided to create some categories of scores. For example, 50 to under 60. How many scores are in 50 to under 60? Well, there's two. There's 56 here, and there is 58 here. And then I just kept going. 60 to under 70, there's 5. 70 to under 80, there's 12. 80 to under 90, 14. 90 to under 100, 7. Now if I asked you the same question, where do these lie? You can say you can come to some conclusion because you have enough information here, you've summarized it, you can come to a conclusion. Oh well, it appears that 70 to under, between 70 and 90, we've got 26 of the data points. I mean, you can work with this, you can get information out of it. Now, when you're constructing your own frequency distributions, there's two principles. First one is what I call the must-dos. You must include all values in your frequency distribution. And secondly, a value must fit into only one class. Can't fit into two different classes. Then there are things that I call the should-dos. These are things that allow you to increase the communication of your frequency distribution. You want to try to have each class the same width. You want to have class widths basically of 2, 3, 5, and 10, or multiples of those. And you try not to have too many classes with ones and zeros. You don't want to have too few or too many classes. Now, there are a couple of rules of thumb to help you get started. You have to answer two questions. How many classes should I use, and how wide should each class be? The general rule is, how many classes? You want to take 2 and raise it to the k power till you get to a number that's greater than the number of classes. So for example, if you had 30 items, 2 to the 5th power is 32. That tells you probably want to have 5 classes. And this is just something to get you started. How wide should each class be? Well, you take your highest value minus your lowest value divided by the number of classes. Now this is just to get you started. In reality, your frequency distribution can be anything.